You guys know what time it is. It's been a couple weeks. Let me show you what I have come across. So it has been a couple weeks since I have talked to you guys. You know, we were filming at Tampa Bay Comic-Con last weekend. And in the meantime, I have continued to pick up my stuff. By now, if you have watched the Tampa Bay Comic-Con video, you know that I was hunting for comics while I was there. Unfortunately, didn't really find any. Comic-Cons themselves, Comic-Cons, aren't for finding the comic deals anymore, really, unfortunately. You can still buy dollar issues, you can still buy, you know, $5 back issues and stuff like that, but that's if you're trying to fill holes in your collection, which I'm not really trying to anymore because I'm not at that point where I'm filling the holes in my collection. I've gone through a lot of that before. Now I'm picking up key issues or starting new things to read along the way. Before I get started though, let me give a shout out to my wife who makes these amazing tumblers. This is my artwork. You can find this, not this particular one, this is mine, but you can find ones just like this on my website, which I will put right here. But if you want other designs that my wife makes as well, and she makes a lot of other different kinds, you can find it right here on her website. But these so killer, and it's not just because it's my artwork. It's not just because my wife made it. This is such a beautiful cup, and I take it to work every day. Super handy. So a little bit of shameless self-promotion there. So let's start out with some of my picks over the past 2 weeks. The Rocketeer. I have already expressed in the past how much I love The Rocketeer. This is issue 4 of the current series, also the last issue. It was just a mini-series of The Great Race. It was basically man versus machine, and then you get the evil Germans involved in there as well because of the time that it's kind of set in during like World War II-ish era. And the artwork is amazing on this. Stephen Mooney wrote and drew the book, and it's some of the best stuff I've seen in a Rocketeer book in quite some time. Very old school serial, like movie serial episodes, sort of adaptation, if you will. Really plays on what it's supposed to be, like that Indiana Jones like timeline. It's supposed to be like an extended serial episode sort of thing. Just really well done, and I'm sure that this will be in trade paperback sometime soon. If you're not interested in picking up the individual issues, pick up this book. It is just a great read. Oh, and another thing, the reason that this isn't in a bag and board is because this is an error book. This not all the issues are going to be like this. This is a very rare circumstance with this book. Of me collecting comics for the past 30 years, I've come across this less than a handful of times. I've seen it a bit, but I've gotten my own less than a handful of times. The cover here, sometimes when you open it, there's another cover. That's an error. That's a production error. It doesn't necessarily mean the book is worth more or less, but I have come across the fact that when you get these books graded, even if the outside book is messed up, they will also grade the inside cover, and whatever is the higher grade of those covers they will take into consideration. So, could be a bonus. I could scribble all over this, but as long as this one remains untouched, I'll still get the higher grade on my grading. Kind of a little hack. I mean, I don't recommend it because, once again, people do distinctly collect error comic books. So if you ever come across these, it might be worth finding somebody who'd be interested to pay a little bit extra premium for it. Next up is Poison Ivy. Now, I started collecting this book for Gretchen because she is a massive Poison Ivy fan. But I started reading this as well, and this is a version of Poison Ivy that we have never seen before. This version is both beautiful and disgusting at the same time. Poison Ivy is dealing with kind of becoming something more than human, and then dealing with external problems that are more than human as well. We've got a little Harley Quinn back here because we've got a dark Ivy and a lit up Harley Quinn back here. You can kind of pick up a metaphor based in this comic on how she feels about that relationship. Still, a great read, getting such in-depth background on Poison Ivy. We're only in the 3rd issue here, and we're already getting way more out of the character than I feel that we've gotten in the past, I don't know, 40, 50 years or so, however long she's been out. Now, I have been on the Black Adam bandwagon, and I do mean like the movie, the character in general, not just because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is playing Black Adam in the upcoming movie, which is just spot on looking, right? But I've always been a fan because Shazam, Captain Marvel himself, the original Captain Marvel, I guess you could say, now known as Shazam, has always been one of my favorites of all time. I've always just enjoyed the concept of this kid with Superman powers. And the movie that came out a couple of years ago nailed the character. The upcoming movie, I guarantee you, is going to do so much of a better job. Plus, once again, the Black Adam movie, being on the bandwagon, I'm getting these movie prequel books because of the Justice Society. I'm sure if you have seen the trailer, maybe you're not up to par on a couple of the other characters that they showed within that trailer. The Justice Society, kind of like the early version of the Justice League, before that was really a thing. You've got these old school, older generation heroes before the Justice League, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, all of them kind of formed their own thing together. So the Justice Society is kind of the heroes, if you will, or the super team within the new Black Adam movie. And so Cyclone is on that team. Now, Cyclone is a relatively newer character. She is the granddaughter of Red Tornado. And maybe you've watched the Justice League cartoon, or you've seen some references to the Red Tornado. He's a red individual, actually a robot, has like a red or a yellow arrow on his chest. Anyway, this is his daughter, and she's the newest member of the Justice Society, who will be kind of antagonist, protagonist. I'm not sure what role Black Adam plays in this movie, if he's a bad guy or if he's a good guy. Maybe he's a Deadpool-ish character, kind of an anti-hero sort of thing. But these books, I wouldn't say they are a must-read, but if you want better understanding of the characters and the concept of the movie universe, these might be the way to go. These have been good reads. I had the Hawkman one before, a different take on Hawkman, and I really enjoyed that. Little Monsters. Now, what happens in a post-apocalyptic future when kids get vampiric abilities unknown to them? They don't know that they need to feed. They don't know what it is that is supposed to sustain their life force. They were never taught this until one of them kind of figures it out, and then all hell breaks loose. So you've got a tribe of baby vampires running around trying to scrap up what the last of the human remains are, the human society is in this post-apocalyptic future. A dark read, very dark read. Jeff Lemire, he's the guy who wrote Sweet Tooth. If you watched that on Netflix, that was also that show is also based on a much darker comic than I think that they showed in the TV show. But I've always loved Jeff Lemire's work, and it's sinister, but yet really keeps your attention at the same time with these bizarre concepts. So this is only issue 6. It's been out since January, I think now. Probably easy to find back issues. I don't know that this is a super popular series. Jeff Lemire's work tends to take a little bit of time to find its footing before it really catches people's attention. So if you want to get on the train early, go look for back issues of Little Monsters. So I've raved about this in the past, and it's just funny that the time cycle of things made all of these issues come out all at the same time. Radiant Black. Radiant Black, such a great, fun series. They're making a extensive universe out of this, right? So if you look up Black Market Narrative, you'll find the website relating to all of the stuff within the Radiant Black universe. They're introducing these very cool new characters. The final issue of the mini-series for Radiant Red. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't think Radiant Red is a must-read. It didn't make me care about the character. I don't know if I'm supposed to like the character or not. You know, it's a woman down on her luck, and she's using the abilities, kind of like Radiant Black, to try to make her life better, but doing it in a wrong way, if you will. And I don't know that I have sympathy for the character because she had to resort to that sort of lifestyle, or the fact that she probably could have taken a different route. But regardless, last issue, this is issue 5 of 5. If it comes out in trade paperback and you've read Radiant Black and you're like, hey, I want to check it out, do that. Get the trade paperback. I wouldn't hunt down these back issues for $4 a piece. So, Rogue Sun. Now, I'm still waiting for Rogue Sun to really find its footing as well. This kid has gotten the powers of his father's superhero identity of Rogue Sun. And his father's dead, but his essence is trapped in the suit. So he needs his son to take on his persona and figure out who actually killed him to begin with. And we find out that his mother is a villain. So it gets involved, but it also doesn't seem to be going anywhere quite yet. But I can tell that things are in motion. So I'm still waiting for it to get its footing. It's still early on. This is issue number 6 as well. So I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to wait. By issue 10, if nothing really serious has happened, I might give it a pass. But I'm going to give it a couple more months. And finally, another piece that is brand new to the Radiant Black universe, the Black Market narrative universe, is the Dead Lucky. Now, this involves another super suit, if you will, known as the Ghost. The inhabitant inside was experimenting with like futuristic police armor, if you will. Kind of evolved into this situation. I can't tell if it's set in the same linear timeline as Radiant Black. It is in the same universe, but this is way more futuristic than the way Radiant Black is set. So, premiere issue. It was a good read. I love the character design. I really want to see where this is headed, and so I'm gonna stick around for this once again for a few issues, see what happens. Listen, House of 92, this X-Men series, X-Men 92, has been such a breath of fresh air when it comes to X-Men comics for me, because this was my era of the X-Men. This is when that X-Men cartoon was coming out. This is when I was first learning about all of the past storylines through the X-Men cartoon, X-Men animated series, and they utilized the character designs, despite the storylines of that cartoon. They used the character designs from that current Jim Lee run of X-Men, right? And so this is revitalizing so much of that stuff from the past. In this issue alone, we're seeing stuff that you might recognize from that cartoon, or famous X-Men storylines like Eric the Red, or Arcade, or Lady Deathstrike. Just stuff that you don't see a lot of anymore because they don't really fit the current narrative of the more serious aspect that the comics have been taking. But X-Men 92, House of 92, just a great read. This is only issue 3. These back issues I think are really easy to find right now. This is probably one of my top choices. If that was your era of X-Men to read, once again, like I said, breath of fresh air, find these issues. Just so incredibly fun. The artwork is fresh. It's not heavy with ink and detail too much. This has a very old school sort of vibe to it, and I just love this so much. So I highly recommend House of 92. Now, I was, among many other people, a fan of the Spiderverse film. So when Edge of Spiderverse came out, I had to pick this up. What grabbed my eye, though, was the cover. This looks like, I thought it was drawn by Mike Mignola, who does Hellboy. I'll show you a comparison. In my collection, I actually have this Greetings from Hell postcard, signed personally by Mike Mignola and Dave Stewart. But the artwork, this is an homage to a famous Hellboy cover, but you can kind of see the similarities between the two of them, and why I thought the Spider-Man cover was drawn by Mike Mignola himself. He's been known to do that stuff in the past, you know what I'm saying? But also recreate homages to his own famous Hellboy covers as well. But this has, let's see here, Spider-Man Noir, who was voiced by, I think, Nicolas Cage in the movie, right? You've got Arana. Then people were making a big deal about Spider-Rex. Is it? Yeah, Spider-Rex. And I thought, we've seen this before. Like, haven't we seen Dinosaur Spider-Man before? No. It was T-Rex Batman in the DC Dark Knight's death metal series. There was all these versions of Batman. We saw a dinosaur Batman. So dinosaur Spider-Man over here. In the comic, you can't really tell here, he's a dinosaur wearing a Spider-Man suit. Like, it's the absurdity of it as well. There's also a cameo of a brand new Spider character as well. I think Web Weaver is the name that we'll be seeing in later issues of Edge of Spider-Verse. It got me thinking, like, I love these alternate versions of Spider-Man. I've always enjoyed multiverse comics. And I just got to thinking that maybe I just don't like Peter Parker. Maybe Peter Parker is just too basic for me anymore, and I need more exciting versions of Peter Parker. Like, I feel like these are all Peter Parker in some aspect, maybe gender swapped, different names, you know what I'm saying? But they're all Peter Parker. Actually, his name is Parker, P-T-E-R, almost like pterodon. I think the P is silent. So, I don't know. Just weird. I had to pick it up. I really loved the cover on it. Spiderverse stuff. It'll always grab me. Yeah, I can't say anything about that. So, and my last pick of the week, something a lot less superhero-y. It's a book called Stillwater. Now, this town in the middle of whatever backwoods area of the United States, this town doesn't age. And the people who die in the town don't die. They can do just absurd things. In the first issue, trigger warning here, we watch a kid jump off of a roof for fun. We watch him jump off, or he gets pushed off. His friend, for fun, pushes him off the roof, hits the ground, like a couple stories, and then just gets up, right? Like, these people can't leave the town or they will start aging. So how else do kids entertain themselves but by beating up on their friends, right? But it also turns out that this kid is also 30 years old. So, interesting book. This kid was born out of the town, but his mother remained in the town. So he was kind of adopted out elsewhere, looking for his real mother. Goes to the town to find her. Turns out at this point she's basically the same age he is, grown up. She has not aged at all, but the town does not want the interloper coming back and figuring out the secrets of whatever's going on within their town. So this is deep in the series, issue 14. The first couple runs of storylines are already out in trade paperback. I do recommend this book. This is a great read. Starts out as a mystery, then you have conspiracy, sabotage within the town themselves, because people want to possess the town, want to take control of the town, and have it under their own control as well. So I do recommend this book as well if you're not into the superhero stuff, or if you want something just outside of the superhero stuff, but it's a little bit more supernatural, unexplained. This is a fun read. This is a great read. I highly recommend it. Let me catch you up to date on the experiment that I proposed from the last episode, where I opened up a pack of comics and I said, whatever's in this pack of comics, I'm going to continue with these storylines so that I can try something new that I haven't read before. And one of those was the Wolverine Patch series. Now, I am caught up. This is issue 4. I had issue 1 in the pack. Here it is right here. I had issue 1 in the pack, and I have caught up to the current issues. I have not read them yet, but I am caught up on those, so I will begin those fairly soon. The other one was this Thor storyline, Hammer of the Gods, right? So this is a 5-issue storyline. Counting this one, I have 3 issues of the 5 issues. The 2 issues that I don't have yet are now in second print because they were super popular, a little bit out of my price range for experimenting on reading a new storyline, because I guess certain things happened in those stories that are key moments. So the issues are now in second print, and I'll be picking up those to complete the storyline pretty soon. But I'm actually really excited about this Thor storyline, just called God of Hammers. And the first issue, people died because of Mjolnir, and it wasn't by Thor. So I'm curious to see who the God of Hammers is. And we had Inferno. We had 4-issue Inferno, which was the end. It's such a long storyline of the House of X, Powers of X, all these new run of X-Men books that came out. This is the culmination of the storyline of all of that over the past couple years. So I have issues 2, 3, and 4. And so I'm just looking for issue 1 now, and I will have the full story to read. Already, I read issue 4. It started out a new series called Immortal X-Men, and I might just have to go start picking up Immortal X-Men. I think it's on issue 6 now. But I loved the end of this, the story, the artwork of it all. That's such a great Emma Frost cover right there. Just so savage looking, right? So I think even without reading the storyline, I'm going to continue on with whatever X-Men series spawned out of this, but I still want to read the full story. So I'm going to be hunting down issue 1 so that I can finish all of that up. So that's where I stand with those. I know it happened pretty fast. I was able to find the back issues really easily at my local comic shops, so that's why I was able to get so many issues so fast. But there's a couple stuff that's not quite so easy to find, and I'll just have to wait a little bit, but I'm definitely looking forward to reading these stories. Okay, and now rounding out today for you guys, I have my key issue picks. And starting it out is a cover appearance, first cover appearance of a well-known Star Wars character, and that's Bo-Katan Kryze. Also up here is Koska Reeves, who I don't know has ever appeared in a comic. So this could be, I mean, it's the first cover appearance. I don't know that it would count as the first appearance of Koska Reeves in the books. But yeah, first appearance on a cover. Sometimes people are into that. Sometimes people don't care. She has appeared in the Clone Wars cartoon books before. So this is not her first appearance, but first cover appearance. And it's based off of, you know, famous scenes out of The Mandalorian. Obviously, a lot of these 50th anniversary covers are based off of depictions off of mostly the live action stories, the movies, TV shows, whatever. So that's where a lot of that comes from. So very cool. I love the character design. She's all scuffed up, and you know, I don't know that people care about Koska Reeves. I don't, you know, Sasha Banks. From what I understand, maybe she won't even be around for the 3rd season of Mandalorian. Maybe people don't care. I'd hate to see her be a throwaway character because she seemed just as badass as Bo-Katan did. So grabbed it because it's a first cover appearance, which, like I said, some people care about. Now, if you watched the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show on Disney Plus, then you are familiar with the new iteration of Captain America. We have the U.S. agent. Now, after he stopped being Captain America, he was the U.S. agent, donned this black costume, and went on to kind of be a jerk crime fighter as well. But this is his first outing as the U.S. agent. This is his first issue of his own mini-series. It was only 4 issues long. But basically just a dark-looking version of Captain America. You know, they really tried to keep in that fact that he used to be Captain America. Look at the boots and the shield and everything like that. It didn't change anything except for really the shield, or the chest emblem, and the color scheme. Other than that, he still got like the winged ear pieces and whatever. Who doesn't like to see kind of a-hole Captain America character? I mean, for me, might make the character a little bit more interesting. So, but picked it up because it's the first issue of the first outing of U.S. Agent. Now, I have not seen the new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer. I don't know that it's been released to the public. People at San Diego Comic-Con, or Comic-Con International is what it's called now, they got to see it. And so they got to see the first iteration of the character that was teased at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And that is Adam, or as most people would know him in the comics, Warlock. Now, Warlock was very instrumental in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline that the Endgame movies were based off of, the Avengers movies. And so at the end of that, in the comics, he got the Infinity Gauntlet. He possessed all the gems, all the powers. Now, not to get too deep into it, but in the Doctor Strange movies, they did talk about a character called the Living Tribunal. And when they were dimension warping, you actually saw a dead version of the Living Tribunal. Well, the Living Tribunal is kind of the end-all, be-all of judgment in the universe. And so they have tasked him with finding individuals to individually possess the Infinity Stones. Because obviously Thanos didn't know how to handle all of that power himself and be responsible with it. They also think that Warlock, who is also in relation to Thanos in a way, he probably wouldn't be able to handle it as well. So they're like, look, we're not going to kill you, but you need to pass the power along to those people who are very responsible with the gems. So, Warlock and the Infinity Watch, the task of hunting down those responsible for carrying on the stones themselves. And so, Adam, coming up in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, this I thought was a great pickup. So, yeah, why not, right? And finally, now, as I pick this up and look at it, I can't help but think, I have said repeatedly that I'm just not into the Fantastic Four. But I still keep picking up Fantastic Four issues. And that's because this has got a couple things going on here. This is a die-cut cover. I know you can't see, but this is a circle that is cut out of the cover here. But this issue right here, 358, is going to tie into the new Secret Invasion series that is coming out on Disney Plus. There is a Skrull in here known as Pybok. Now, if you are a fan of Fantastic Four, then you are probably very familiar with the Super Skrull, the Skrull that had all of the abilities of the Fantastic Four combined, right? In one of the earlier Fantastic Four movies that had Chris Evans in it, I think it was Mr. Fantastic absorbed the abilities of the other guys. In the group themselves, he could fly, and then he had the fire abilities, and he had the stone arm, and they took that concept of the Super Skrull and kind of gave it to Mr. Fantastic in that movie. But there's a Skrull out there who had similar abilities. Well, this one contains a character named Pybok, who is known as the Power Skrull, and his abilities are more akin to the X-Men. He could turn his skin to metal, he could ice blast like Iceman could, he could produce electricity, he could fly. So Pybok, the Power Skrull, this is his very first appearance, and so there is a strong possibility that he might be being played by an actor, Ben Adir, I think is his last name. Kingsley Ben Adir, I think is his name. They're suggesting that he might be playing Pybok, the Power Skrull, in the new Secret Invasion series that is coming up. So I had to pick this up just in case something does happen with that character. And this is a triple issue. Like, this is almost as thick as those 100-page giants from DC that I was buying. This is an anniversary, 30th anniversary spectacular. 1991 this issue came out. And some of these are going upwards of 15 to 20 bucks. I got this guy for 10 bucks. It is in amazing condition, so I couldn't pass that up. So those are my key issues for the week. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. A little bit of a different background today. Maybe at some point in time I will give you a full tour of my comic book room. I've got display cases and bookshelves and things all over this room. But other than that, it's kind of a disaster right now. Unorganized. Let me organize it and I'll show you guys around the room. But if you guys would like to carry on the conversation with me, please hit me up right here on Instagram, MarvelousTNG at Instagram, or also feel free to comment below. And I would love to talk to you guys. If anybody wants to join me on any of these videos, I would love to have just open discourse and communication with whoever wants to talk about comic books with me. I just love talking about comic books. So hit me up, okay? In the meantime, I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.